forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and catch the next conversation that everyone will be talking about, only on Cool America Live. There you go. He's got that kind of presence that makes you lean in, stillness that speaks louder than words, a quiet intensity that says, watch this. Watch him own the screen on August 8th in Outlander, Blood of My Blood. But trust me, this is just the beginning. Rory Alexander is one of those actors who doesn't just play a role, he lives in it. And today we're talking pressure, performance, grief, joy, and yes, what monologue he would pull out if an audition ambushed him on the street. This is Cool America Live, and you're about to meet the guy everyone's going to be obsessed with. Hey everyone, welcome back to Cool America Live. I'm your host, Lindsay, and today we're getting into it with an actor whose work speaks louder in silence than most people do with a dialogue or a monologue. This is Rory Alexander. Hi, Rory.
Hi, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here.
Oh, it's my pleasure. It's a bit of a compliment to sit here and listen to you introduce me like that. So we've started on a good foot.
Yes, well, it's all true, and we're so excited to watch you and what you've got going on. You're really just getting started, like big time. This is big time. Um,
That's the hope.
Absolutely. Well, you have it, so it'll come. You've got this presence on screen. Like it's kind of like quiet, but commanding. It's almost like you don't push it. And that's kind of rare. So where does that come from? Is it just instinct, backstory, movement?
Probably a combination of all of those things. I think the temptation is always to make sure that everyone knows what you're thinking and feeling all the time, which can lead you to push it. Um, And the more you kind of sit and study the world, the more you realize, people can be pretty still and have, a whole sort of torrent of emotions happening inside them. But also that people can be massive. And it feels very naturalistic too. Like um, people get a bit sort of afraid of being too big, and then you watch people out in the world, and you can't believe that they could ever act in such a massive way. But I think, particularly for screen acting, the opposite is kind of true, where you can read so much into someone through very little that actually stillness is kind of just a way of trying to hold everything in. And it's through the holding in that people are kind of drawn in, and, there's a bit of intrigue created instead of kind of showing too much.
I agree with you. It's almost like silence speaks louder than words sometimes. And I'm with you on that. I struggle with that. And it's so great because you can see it in your demeanor. You're just so calm and collected, and you don't feel the need to fill space of silence. It's like you're comfortable in it. And that's an exceptional trait to have. So very, very cool for that. That is a very huge skill, and being able to hold the stillness in the middle of chaos, because we all know that this industry is chaos.
Oh yeah.
So do you have a ritual before scenes, or are you just more of a let's just do it and see how it goes?
A good question. It sort of depends what the scene is. Sometimes you have to spend half a day walking through a doorway, because it just takes so long to do. So on those days, you're kind of sat around joking around with the crew and your mates, and then camera rolls and you kind of go into it. There are other scenes that you feel like you sort of need to prepare a little better and be in a certain mindset, um, which for me is just about the work that you do before you even start, all the research and the kind of mapping of where a character is in their journey, and the conversations they've just had and the people they've just interacted with. And then the goal is to just ignore all of it and just kind of let go of all of that and then go and do it. But it's very hard to be kind of confident or to sit in a feeling like that if you haven't done any of the work. Because suddenly you would start panicking, going, do I know what I'm going to say? Or do I know where I've been? Or do I know where I'm going? And as soon as you're thinking about that, that's when the kind of the shakes come out and you start searching for things at the wrong time.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that, because it's when you sit there, I'm an overthinker by nature. It's a problem. I'm working on it. But so what you're saying about sitting there and like having to do it and you have all this downtime, if you're not fully prepared, then you're going to start overthinking it. So,
Exactly. You kind of have to overthink so you can stop thinking in a weird
yes,
logic. Yeah.
thought of it that way. That is an exceptional way to think about it. Wonderful. All right, let's talk Outlander, Blood of My Blood, massive universe, passionate fans. What was your first reaction when you booked this role?
I the process of getting the job was very long. I was on either side of the strike, and the sort of rounds had gone on and on and on. And I think by the end, I had just put it in a mental waste paper bin over there. So I just thought, I can't keep thinking about this, otherwise I'll never sleep again. And my agent called me. She was in Taiwan, and she said, "Do you want to play Murtagh?" And I thought she was talking about a Taiwanese game or something. I was like, "Sorry, I don't know what you mean." She said, "Murtagh, the character, Murtagh that we've been working on together for the last 6 months." Like, oh, yeah, yes, yes, of course I would. Um, and then I didn't have any time to think. I literally had to go to Scotland the next morning. So I called as many of my friends as I possibly could and just said, "I have to go away. Can I see you all tonight?" And I was putting a kilt on at 9 a.m. the next morning and meeting the producers. So I honestly had no reaction time. And then it was about a month into our boot camp of sort of horse riding and sword fighting and things that it finally landed. And I thought, oh, I'm now part of something, um, which is an exciting and a daunting thing to realize, but it's too late. You got to just go with it by then.
Absolutely. So tell us how you handle that. I know I'm kind of going off script here, but tell me how do you handle that downtime in that wait period? Because it is a lot of hurry up and wait, I've
Mhm.
noticed. So is there anything that you can tell us, like what you do to calm those things? Because it takes months, like you said.
Yeah, it's the hope is that you've got that all my eggs aren't in the basket, which isn't to say that I don't care and it's not massively important, but it's too precarious a situation to be in to think, oh, like my day or my happiness or the way my year is about to pan out is going to be decided by casting directors and producers and other groups of producers. Like if you live your life like that, you're inevitably gonna wind up in some pretty weird places. So I kind of very much live my life outside of acting in the hope that acting will then just come and completely knock my life for six out the window. So I write a lot and I'm do a lot of music and I travel and all the stuff that kind of fills in the time when I could be sat around panicking about a job. I'm slightly trying to enjoy my life because then also you get one and it's like, right, disappear for 8 months and you go and you're in a bubble for a while and you don't get to do any of those things, which is not a bad thing because you're getting to do something else. Um, so yeah, trying to make the most of time when that's yours instead of making your own time, wasting it by worrying about someone else's decision is the goal. Now that doesn't obviously happen very often because you always think about it and you want it to happen. So, but that's my way of tempering things.
Well, thank you for sharing that. That's like such an emotionally mature way of handling it, honestly. And I know a lot of people that's hard for them. So that advice that you just gave and letting us into your world like that, that's helpful. So thank you for sharing that.
I'm glad.
Appreciate it. So now you're in it, right? You didn't have time to react, but you're there. In that moment on set, was there a time when it just really clicked, like, holy crap, I'm here.
It did. There was, I think my first day is a scene that's cut now. But Jamie, Roy, and we had a little fire in this is the resident whiskey expert in the hotel that I'm staying.
Oh,
He's not giving any to me, unfortunately. Um, um, yeah, we our first scene that we filmed was a fire in a wood. Um, and we were genuinely in the middle of a forest. And as we walked up to this little fire pit, there were maybe 300 people with cranes and lights and generators and food trucks. And I mean, it was like a village had been built overnight just for us to have a scene by a fire. And I just thought, wow, this is on a scale of like I've never experienced before. And then you do the scene, and it feels exactly like sitting by a fire with your friend, and you ignore the fact that there's 300 people around and cranes and lights and cameras and smoke machines and all of that. But yeah, I hadn't ever grasped the scale and the level of detail and just the amount of people and work that goes into making just 2 minutes of a scene that doesn't even exist anymore.
Right. Well, yeah, it sounds amazing. And you kind of have to give props to the crew working on it because they make magic happen.
It's like above and beyond. Like, and I know I just say this all the time, but you walk onto a cruise set, you do your thing, and you walk off again. The crew are there from minute one to the last minute of the day, and the worlds that they build, and the costume, and like down to there's a sort of on-site chef called Pierre who does. So when we're cooking over a fire, he's there like preparing a squirrel for us and making sure that we've got it, and it's seasoned and so that if you have to eat it in a scene, he's like, Do you like it? Do you want a little bit more salt? Do you want, it's to the finest detail. It's immense.
Wow. So did you eat squirrel?
I did eat the squirrel.
Okay, now
I have
no.
a sort of
What
allergy to when people on screen don't eat and they
yeah,
kind of move the food around, and this backfires all the time because you do a big thing of spaghetti and then they go, let's do it again and again and again, and
you're like,
4 hours later you're in a world of pain. But I do think that it's important because you're like, hey, he's eating. You better eat it. So yeah, I think I ate the entirety of a squirrel. Again, no one will
what did
see
it taste
it.
like? What did it taste like?
It's well, thanks to Pierre, it tasted like, herb de Provence and a little bit of salt. But it's a pretty lean, dry meat, especially when you've been cooking it over an actual fire. I I charred it to bits. So that can't go on a menu anywhere.
No, that's okay. I just had to know because I've never had squirrel. And my stepson constantly talks about eating a squirrel because he said he's going to go shoot one outside and then we're going to cook it. Um,
Mhm.
and so I was like, "Well, now I know. Now I know it's a possibility and maybe I need it to prepare for future role someday."
Exactly. You never know when you're going to get the squirrel call.
So true. Sword, mud, um, anything. I get it. But did that role itself, does it teach you anything unexpected about yourself that you really didn't know yet?
I'm okay with mud now, and I'm okay with the sword now. Um, yeah, it's funny when you think you are the center of your own universe, and everyone thinks that, kind of, to a greater or lesser degree. And sometimes on set or in a scene, you have to think, okay, this is a scene about me and what's my character doing and how's Murtagh feeling at this point. And then sometimes there's just the pure practicalities of going, do you know what? In this scene, I need Brian and Ellen to look at each other. I need the story is about something that's not to do with me. And it's not about like minimizing your character or making yourself less important. It's just kind of understanding how something is made and how like a story happens. And I think it's a valuable lesson of just working out when something's about you and when it's not, and when you're facilitating something and when you're kind of taking a bit of limelight. Um, and then you can then apply that in your own life. And there are lots of times when sometimes you think it's about you and sometimes it's just not. And getting out of your own way in order to help something else happen is something you have to do all the time at work. And yeah, it's a pretty valuable skill, I think.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there with when you said that you have to get out of your own way. I kind of feel that because
Mm.
we do. It's human nature, you know? So, and adaptability is very underrated, honestly, especially because on sets, like the weather has its own agent.
Yeah, yeah. The weather is demanding. They've
Yeah.
got a busy rider. It arrives late. It leaves early.
Yep.
Yeah,
Sometimes it just goes completely off script. You never know.
exactly, exactly.
Okay, let's rewind. You've done stage two, and I really want to talk about that. Do you have a theater moment that still kind of gives you goosebumps?
Yes, yes, I do. In the good goosebumps or bad goosebumps, because there's a range.
You tell me which one you think is the most notable.
Um, I did a play when I was at university called The Nether. And there was a moment in that coming up towards the end of it where honestly was not on stage anymore. And it was like a student production. It was at the Oxford Playhouse. It was a big production, but it was, it's students. It's young people trying to do something. So it's not, the pinnacle. But yeah, I was in an argument at the end of the play, and I could feel my hands going and my voice going, but I just was up here kind of watching it, and I kind of felt myself land back in towards the end of this scene. And I don't know if that's because I got it right or because I got it wrong or because I didn't have enough sugar that day or but I remember thinking that there is something so specific about this exact scene, this exact moment, the people who are sat there, and you are so completely free from your own insecurities and worrying about your lines and worrying about your staging. You're just so in it that like that kind of complete evisceration of self felt like it happened. And
Yeah,
no one else noticed. No one was like, "Hey, you're up on the ceiling for a minute there." Um,
that's a good thing.
but which is a good thing. And I think you need those in contrast to some others because, life on stage is pretty cutthroat because when it's not going right, it's not going right, and everyone knows it. And again, when I was at university, I did a one-man mime show, um, for reasons that I will never understand, and an hour-long silent show, which when you're halfway through and you feel like it's not going quite as you want it to, there's a long way to go still. And Noodles the clown is not a character that I'm ever going to play again, and I'm never going to put anyone else through it. But that is very much an example of the bad goosebumps.
Oh my. Yeah, I can see
Yeah.
it. Also, like the fact that I'm terrified of clowns. So that wouldn't go well.
Well, yeah. And when you're not making any noise, the art
Yes.
of silence again,
Right.
and then the audience isn't making any noise,
Oh my
it's
goodness.
real quiet.
See, that has to be so unnerving. If you're not fully immersed in the role, you can feel that silence. It's wild.
hmm hmm So
Yeah.
maybe that comes into it as the silences you were talking about before, that I have spent some time sitting in silences, good ones and bad ones. So I try and make my peace with them.
Well, it sounds like that role helped you to do that too, because in a way, I mean, helped you learn that skill.
hmm
Yeah. So do you have a role, theater or screen, that changed the way you work, that maybe gave you a different insight?
Yeah. I was lucky enough to work with someone I think is probably the greatest stage actor of sort of our time, Mark Rylance. And he was sort of my acting hero. And then my first lead role was opposite him. And watching him work taught me more than drama school or the work I had done before, just how entirely present he was without being sort of a selfish person on set and kind of absorbing too much space and energy. Um, to the point where, your eyes would flick somewhere and he would kind of follow them to see what it was that you looked at, and you suddenly feel like you're so together and you're tied to one another in a scene. And so it really did change everything. And I try and think about that a lot, particularly on a film set where everything's moving, and sometimes, a bird goes overhead or someone drops something, and there's the fear of just going like, "Well, just do the scene, just do the scene." You go, "Well, what happens if you stop and pick up the cup? And what happens if you do look up at the sky because a bird came over?" Um, and that leads to something very different and can really unlock something. And I'm not going to say it's what a lot of people don't do it, but when you do it, it really brings something. Um, and I definitely got that from him.
I love that. That's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And I'm so glad that you got that experience to work with him. I mean, and it's incredible the fact that you were beside somebody that you admire so much. How did that feel?
I didn't believe it until he turned up on set, and every night we would have a fire outside the set. We were sleeping in like caravans by the set, and we would have a fire and a drink, and everyone would just kind of sit around telling stories, and it was incredibly surreal. And I didn't want to say to him too early, you're my sort of acting hero. And I think I managed to get the words out somewhere close towards the end of the job, because it creates a strange power dynamic, which existed anyway, because he's the pro and I'm the newbie. And yeah, um, I haven't had it in the same way since. I'm not well, I'm sure that I will be starstruck in the same way. But the one thing I'm glad of is that I don't think it threw me off the job. Like I didn't cow from it, as much as inside I was going like, "Oh my God, here he is."
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's hard to rein in, but yeah, I definitely can see where you would feel proud that you handled it the way you did. It's always a good feeling when you can feel that way. And it
Mm.
sounds like that experience kind of gave you some practice for your sitting around the fire in Outlander.
Yeah, who knew that they were so linked? A fireside in Gloucestershire up until, 1715 fireside.
Yeah. So is there anything, because we're going back to real life now with the fire, sitting around the fire, is there anything that you pull during your work from your real life, like any part of your experience in life that shapes your work the most?
Yes, in a big way, and no, in a big way. I think I mean, everyone has an opinion on this. I don't have a sort of very distinct method. I think it's very tricky, and you learn this in theatre more than film, I think, to make huge emotional associations. If because again, the classic example is if you're playing Othello and you've got to kill a lot of people, you go, well, I don't have this emotion to draw on, so I can't make a comparison. Or if you think about, I don't know, the time your dog broke his leg, by the 50th night you're doing it, that memory doesn't make you so upset anymore. You just go, yeah, sadly, it happened. Um, but that's not to say that like life experience doesn't massively play a part. And especially when you're thinking about like romance or friendship, or times when you have a difficult decision to make, everyone's had those feelings, and it's not specific to a person or a particular experience, but where those things sit in your body, and how it makes your stomach go, and like how your tongue feels like it can stop working, or how your heart can beat faster, and those sort of physical aspects you can kind of draw on and let them come back. um and kind of like what I was talking about earlier about living your life and then acting getting in the way.
Mhm.
It's so important to me that that happens, because then you are out in the world and you are experiencing things. So then when you go and play a part of a character who is, wildly in love, or, is suffering from grief, it's not like, I don't know. I've just been in my trailer. You go, yeah, I was out there doing that, and now I'm here doing that, and that's kind of invaluable.
Right. So when those emotions get heavy like that, do you find it easy to leave them on the set or do they follow you home?
Um, they sometimes jump in the back of the car with you, and you kind of have to throw them out on the motorway as you're going. I'm getting better at it. And that's often to do with where you are. Like if you can come home to your friends, or you can, I don't know, go and have some food with, and it just kind of release a little bit. But sometimes when you're really in the swing of things, you come back and you go to sleep and you just get up and you do it again and you're in the same position, it's harder to kind of release. um but yeah, generally speaking, I quite like telling a joke about 3 seconds before the camera rolls. Um, because then it makes me feel like I am me, and then I am the character, and then I'm me again, and that separation is useful. But it's easier said than done. It's just emotional, like aerobics, and you got to kind of push yourself into different positions, and there's always a bit of, afterburn.
Wow. It just so shows your intelligence level because you're over here making all these like emotional aerobics like wild. And I'm over here thinking emotional hangover. Like what? Ridiculous.
Well,
Um,
it's the same. That's the PG version. Emotional hangover. There you go.
there you go. Yeah, definitely though. It's the emotions get heavy. So you got to kind of roll with the punches and stuff.
Hmm.
So I want to do a fun one.
Let's
So
go.
if your Outlander character had a TikTok, what kind of content are we watching?
Ooh, I think he's quite into flora and fauna. I think he would do some sort of ironic videos of different highland shrubs that he's found. Maybe he's brewing some teas. Maybe he's brewing a little homemade hooch out of various sphagnum moss, etc. Um, I think we do know about Murtagh that he quite likes to dance. He's done the sword dance before. I think he could be getting on some of those dance trends. And obviously he needs a cooking channel now, because
Yeah,
we haven't seen him cook the squirrel, but he's got the skill set now.
absolutely.
So any of those.
Perfect. Well, I mean, now I'm going to be sitting here waiting for you to be full costume and doing a TikTok dance.
Okay, well, you might be waiting a long time, but I wouldn't hold your breath. But if enough people want it, start the petition now.
Right? Well, I'm all in for the TikTok channel. Sign me up.
Gotcha. As soon as I make a TikTok, you'll be the first person to see
Yeah,
it.
perfect. I'm excited. Has a co-star ever totally kind of thrown you off in a scene, but maybe in a really good way?
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, in a way, kind of the best ones do.
Mhm.
Um, because like I said earlier, that's where the weird stuff happens. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm a giggler. I get the giggles really badly, so I'm often putting people off. I will say that now before I throw anyone else under the bus. Um, and there's often when you're just kind of hanging around and you're making jokes, sometimes you can start a scene, and then there is a hangover, and you look someone in the eye and you're both thinking about what you've just been thinking about, and then just trying to hold it together for the rest of it is kind of hard. um and I'm an absolute sucker for people who can't walk properly on camera. It's a really hard thing to do. Lots of people, if you're able-bodied, walking is not too tricky for you, and yet for some reason, as soon as the camera is rolling, the risk of tripping over is like quadrupled. So anytime someone's walking along and then you just get just I'm done for. So in that capacity, pretty much everyone I've ever worked with. Um yeah, I mean there are some bad stories and some good stories, but I think I'll leave it at that, and
Yeah.
I'll leave them till the time that they can defend themselves in front of me.
Love it. Well, I have to say, I'm one of those people too. It's like if I trip, even if I trip, I'm gonna laugh.
Yeah.
It's funny. I'm a giggler too, if you haven't noticed. I mean, I hide it,
Mhm.
but yeah, definitely. I can imagine the walking, like you said, the way you put that. I never even thought of that, but it would be. It would be so stressful.
Yeah, it's just simple tasks. Take a sip of that drink, and all of a sudden, it's like your two hands, you're shaking, you're missing your mouth.
Yeah,
Camera's off, you're having the time of your life. But for some reason, it just makes everything, yeah,
that's right.
400% harder.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that pressure, um, if you didn't have any prep, say somebody, an agent caught you on the street, what's your go-to monologue? Do you have one?
I Yes, I think I probably do. I've never performed it actually,
Oh,
but I learnt it kind of by proxy, just from through watching the film a lot. Um, in the Name of the Father with Pete Postlethwaite and Daniel Day-Lewis, and Daniel Day-Lewis is in prison with his father, and I think he's wearing a jean jacket, quite like this, and his dad has been arrested with him, and instead of sort of being grateful or glad that they're in this situation together, he just says, "Why do you always follow me? Why do you always follow me when I do something wrong? Why can't you follow me when I do something right?" And it's just this sort of anger and grief that the one time he's connecting with his father is when he's at his lowest. And it's gorgeous, but
yes.
it's rage. It's pure rage. So I would, yeah, I maybe wouldn't do it in the street in case, there was a cop car coming past and they thought I was having an altercation. But yeah, that would probably be the one I pull from my sleeve.
Yeah. It sounds raw. It really does. Like raw and just genuine. Like you can just
Mm.
put it out there. Yeah, well, you're braver than me because I would probably end up quoting like, I don't know, Mean Girls or something because that's where I would be.
But also that's what people want.
Right.
So, you can pull any sort of art house film as you like, but also, I'd love to be McLovin in Superbad. So
Yes. Thank you. I love that movie. It's hilarious.
yeah.
Fastest man alive. The best part.
It's just beer. It's just beer.
I love it so much. Oh, I can't stop laughing about it. That and Super Troopers for some reason. I don't know why. That one too. Okay.
Anything with super in it.
It is. Yes, it is. Completely. So super, what's your superpower? What's your actor superpower? Do you like what would you say that would be?
Ooh. I'm playing up the silence now.
That's
I
okay.
think something, I think I have quite a sad resting face.
Oh,
Um, but I also think I have a twinkle in my eye. So those two things together, I think are pretty useful
yeah.
because it means you can kind of play two colors at once,
Mhm.
um, kind of accidentally,
Yeah.
which can get you some way.
Mhm. Well, it shows versatility, and that's what they want. Other than I have an RBF really bad. That's why I'm like, I feel like the Joker. Because I do. I look mean. I look mean all the time, and I don't know why. I've really tried to fix it, but it's just my face.
Well, it's not coming across.
Thanks. I'm
Yeah, I think you need to work on your RBF.
okay. Well, don't tell my husband that.
Okay.
All right, let's shift gears. Lightning round.
Okay.
Okay, this is intense. Are you prepared? Can you hear my,
Absolutely not, but let's go.
can you hear?
No?
You can't. Okay, good. Sorry. Okay, let's do
Okay.
this. First thing that comes to mind, dream role, villain or misunderstood heartthrob.
Misunderstood heartthrob.
Yeah. Scripted or improv?
Oh, scripted.
Accent you secretly wish you had.
Mm, Irish, Southern Irish.
Ooh, that's a good one. See, I always say English.
No, you can have mine.
Okay. Early call time or late night rap?
Early call time.
That's interesting. Are you just a morning person?
Late night rap, you just by come 10 p.m. everyone's delirious, you're over caffeinated.
For
It
sure.
it yeah.
I can see that. I can see it now. So more intimidating, first table read or red carpet premiere?
First table reading.
Yeah, I would go with that one too, I think. Stage fright, still get it or totally gone?
Pretty much gone, which is a
Ooh,
bad thing. Stage fright is good, I think.
you think?
Um, there's that killer song. How do you know that you're right if you're not nervous anymore?
That's, yeah,
I think you need to be a little bit nervous,
yeah.
but it'll come. For now, I'm okay, but you say quick fire round and suddenly,
Boom. Ready. Okay, so for your red carpet, what would be your red carpet alter ego?
um, uh, he's called Ronnie Business.
Yes.
He's handing out multiple business cards. He he is a small-time manager of multiple different companies, window washer, car cleaner, tech, sort of fixer of goods. He can get you a second-hand car. He can really do anything. And he's got no shame. He'll go up to the most famous people in the world, give them the business card, give them the spiel. Basically runs a pyramid scheme, multiple pyramid schemes.
Right.
Yeah, Ronnie Business would come to town.
Perfect. Oh, what is in one word? What do you want your work to say?
Ruth?
Okay, I like it. That's that's a good one. So, well, that's all the hard ones I have for you.
Oh, okay, I can breathe again.
You can breathe. I know it's like ready. Well, we do have last two questions, and I'm really sad because I don't want it to end. But
Um,
we ask everyone these. It's our signature question. Since we are Cool America magazine, what is something that you find genuinely cool about America?
oh, wow. Um, Portion size. Just go for it.
Mhm.
When I was young, I used to think that the more and the hotter, the hot, large amounts of food was the pinnacle of eating. And I don't know if I believe that anymore. I don't know if England has changed that about me. But I'd like to get somewhere and you order a burger and fries and it comes and it's steaming and it's huge. And I think, yeah, good on you. You deserve that. You earned that.
We sure do not uh, fall short in our portion sizes.
Yeah.
Okay, so now, what is something that about you that's quietly cool? Maybe most people wouldn't know right away.
Oh gosh. Whatever it is, it's very quiet. Um, I I can thatch. I thatch roofs. So we have some thatched buildings in the UK, um, which are kind of a hangover from the past, and now they're kind of a heritage craft. And one of my best friends is a thatcher, and he taught me how to thatch. So if it's nice weather and he's on a job, I go down and we work the roof together and we thatch away.
I never would have, I couldn't have even made that up.
Thank
That is really cool, though. I mean, you're jack
you.
of all trades, aren't you?
Well, I try.
I try. Rory, this was seriously such a fun conversation.
Well,
Uh,
well, thank you, Lindsay.
I can't wait to see what you do next, and I'm definitely going to be first in line when your character's TikTok drops.
I'll look out for your little icon popping up.
Yes. Stillness, heart, presence. Rory's the kind of actor who reminds you that subtle doesn't mean small. It means intentional. And in a world obsessed with volume, there's something powerful about someone who can hold your attention with just a glance. Whether he's sword fighting in the Highlands or peeling back emotional layers on screen, Rory's just getting started. And we're here for every second of it. Want early access to celebrity interviews? Want your question asked on air with a personal shout out? This isn't just watching, it's becoming part of the show. We've got A-list guests, rising stars, and raw, unfiltered convos you won't find anywhere else. Hit that subscribe button now and turn on all notifications so you don't miss your moment. Welcome to the Cool America Live family, where your voice really matters.